And we are live. Welcome, everybody, to the NBA Strategy Show. It is Wednesday, November 19th, and we're here to break down a bunch of games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the DraftKings side. DraftKings dropped Knicks Mavs and Bulls Blazers. So we've got an interesting sprint tonight. 4 games locking at 7. 3 games locking at 8. It just happens immediately. I hate that 4 at 7 situation. That's going to make live before lock for what I assume to be Greg and Eric not a really good time, because that's going to be a ton of news. Hope you guys had a good night last night. Any big wins in chat? Let me know. Celtics guys killed me. I had more of White and Brown, and obviously Pritchard was the guy that was best in that group, but go Warriors, I guess. Steph and Jimmy. Yeah, that's where we're at. I took a lap through the slate earlier. It is interesting because to start the day, Trevor, I don't listen to anything you say. Not a single word. We start the day, coin flip line, close game, coin flip line. Rockets, Cavs, 1.5. Hornets, Pacers, 1.5. Raptors, Sixers, 1.5. The Heat are slightly bigger favorites, implying some people are going to sit today. We'll talk about that in a bit. But that's all relatively close. And then you look at the 8 o'clock games. Here are the 3 lines on the 8 o'clock games. 16.5. That's the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Wizards. 13.5. That's the Nuggets at the Pels. And then the Thunder are 18.5 point favorites in Sacramento. So it's 4 relatively close games. And then the 3 8 o'clock games all have NFL spreads. I mean, on a list of things that are next level dumb. Yes, I am brushing off your proof, Trevor, because it's really difficult to read. But you keep churning out that proof, brother. All right, chat, here's the trivia question for you. Wizards, 16.5 point dogs. Pelicans, 13.5 point dogs. Kings, 18.5 point dogs. Which one of those teams win their game outright? Do we get an upset? Because, realistically, one of them should win. Who is it? Do the Wizards beat the Wolves? Do the Pels beat the Nugs? Or do the Kings beat the Thunder? All 3 of those outcomes feel so impossible. Two Kings answers? Y'all silly. Silly. I agree with Rashid here. To me, it's the Wizards if I'm picking a team. But all told, none of it looks good. Let's get into the slate. I want to try to move a little bit faster today. I've got a lot going on in life this afternoon, so any minute I can get back for myself will be helpful. But the only person that I'm fighting is me, because I'm the only one that makes this thing go slow. Houston Rockets. They are 1.5 point favorites in Cleveland. 233 total. Jabari Smith is questionable for this one. Tari Eason is already out. Nothing too crazy for these guys, other than the fact that they're just really damn good. And I don't really understand it because they're good in ways I didn't expect. I don't know how Houston has the number one offense. Makes zero sense to me. Absolutely, positively zero sense. Defense, I'm not shocked. Offensive rebounding, confirmed important, I guess. I truly believe the Hawks should trade Trae Young for Igor Demin, a first, and a bench player. Yeah, I think it's going to take a little bit more than that. First in points per 100 possession, 10th in effective field goal percentage. They do turn it over. Number one in offensive rebounds by a mile. 5th in free throws. I just didn't think that. I wasn't even confident that they'd have an average offense. It's crazy. Good for them. But nothing too crazy. Like we gotta get this Jabari Smith news. I think that's the biggest takeaway here. I don't think there's too much going on. I mean, we've been seeing Reed Shepherd playing a bit more. 26, 29, 25, 26, 29 last 5. And he's been playing better too. So that's been good to see. But yeah, Jabari Smith questionable. Tari Eason already out. If we somehow lose Jabari Smith, I think immediately Reed Shepherd looks a little better. And then, like, realistically, I mean, they never play him. But, like, that's a lot of minutes now where we could create Jayshawn Tate value. Although they probably just go to, like, Aaron Holiday first. But Mitchell, there is nothing that Houston could do that would be worse for their team than getting James Harden. I can't think of a worse decision. But hypothetically, there's 32 extra minutes to go around here, plus Tari Eason. We could find extra value. Or they just play everybody 40 minutes. That's also on the table. Cleveland. No Darius Garland. No Jalen Tyson. Still out with that concussion, by the way. Obviously, still no Max Strus. Q-tag Sam Merrill. He's got a right hand sprain. I mean, yes, Josh, I agree that the Hawks are tall. I would greatly disagree that Igor Demin is a beast. But you want to build that trade, you might want to add multiple first round picks. And I mean multiple. Not a first round pick no one wanted and one extra one. Scott, I don't think so. I don't think they would go double big here. They're starting to get kind of thin roster-wise. Okay, so for Cleveland, I was uncomfortably heavy on Evan Mobley last time out. Even in 36 minutes, didn't matter at all. But unless we get Merrill out, tough spot for Cleveland, given the Houston defense, that's for sure. But if we do get Merrill out, that's like 27 minutes that we need to redistribute to... I mean, realistically, Craig Porter probably gets some. Naquan Tomlin probably just plays like 22 minutes. Honestly, it probably doesn't matter all that much. You know, everybody from the bench kind of gets like an extra minute or two. We got to stop thinking that just because two teams or one team has two tall guys, the other team has to play two tall guys. I don't think having Şengün and Adams is a benefit to the Rockets against Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. I'm not like they're obviously going to play together because they're shorthanded, and especially shorthanded if Jabari's out. But so they're not going to have a choice. But I don't think they'd start them like that. But they'd play together one way or the other. They did start them this season. I'd push back on that plenty of times, Brandon. They did it right at the beginning of the season, and they haven't done it since. So if your plenty is 1 or 2, that would be the correct answer. That would be where that line in the sand would be drawn. Because Steven Adams hasn't started in at least 10 Rockets games. And there are only 12 Rockets games to speak of. So at best, the plenty is 2. See what this looks like salary-wise. Şengün 9,500. Donovan Mitchell 9,300. KD 85. None of that looks great. I mean, I still like Evan Mobley at 8K more than I like anything else at the top here. Okay, Steven Adams is 3,700 today. Look, starting, not starting, it really doesn't matter. It's $3,700 Steven Adams is going to look like a really nice value. There's a decent chance I have Craig Porter Jr. over projected right now. Sean Solo, that's great, man. Stop screaming it. Okay, so for this game, I'm interested in Steven Adams just because of the price tag, regardless of whether he starts. I don't really like much else here. I will probably have more Evan Mobley than I want to, like I normally do. But, I mean, it's not... These are two good defenses, or at least solid defenses at the very least, depending on which team we're talking about. What's Cleveland's defense this year? 8th. Yeah, I mean, these are two good defenses. I just don't see a ton on the DFS side. Houston, Cleveland. There it is. All right. I mean, right on the number right now, that's for sure. Little to the over, but Anything interesting in the markets? 4% chance of Şengün. .7% of the time you got 20 plus boards. That's always fun. I guess the thing I like the most is Amin Thompson under assists. Steven, you haven't looked at the slate yet, have you? 7 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock. The 3 8 o'clock games are all like 15-point lines. So you're either locking in at 7 or you only have one other shot, and the other 3 games are all projected ass beatings. That's what you missed when you were getting your coffee. So Yeah, there is no, of all the like normal, typically I would agree with you. But at least Evan Mobley's good in terms of the things that we could lock in early. Yeah, you're good. You're good. I knew you didn't know. Yeah. Houston, Cleveland, Charlotte, Indy, Golden State, Miami, Toronto, Philly, all lock at 7. The other 3 games lock at 8. So we only have one window today. Let's see. I mean, I guess let's go to Charlotte. I don't have much else to say about Houston and Cleveland right now. So let's talk a little bit about Charlotte and Indiana. Again, coin flip. Coin flip. Charlotte, 1.5 point favorites. This Indy team is something special. Still no Brandon Miller, although allegedly he is working his way back. Trey Mann is doubtful for this one. I already have him out. No Liam McNeely. Rest of the guys that are normally out are out. Expected lineup: LaMelo Ball, Sion James, Con Knippel, Miles Bridges, Ryan Kalkbrenner. Ball appears to be limited right now. I got him in for 29. He's played 27 and 28 since he came back after that 5-game absence. Miles Bridges is playing big minutes. Con Knippel's playing big minutes. Kalkbrenner just kind of plays like whatever 27 he can play. And then everybody sort of just fills in around there. You could see Colin Sexton spike some minutes from time to time, but these guys are pretty set in stone where they are right now. Not a lot that I see when I look at this team and think like, okay, I should angle towards this. And now the Pacers are just a mess. So Aaron Nesmith out, Furphy, Toppin, Quentin Jackson. They've been messing around with their rotations as of late. They got Benedict Mathurin back last time out. He got the start. But with Nesmith out and Mathurin back, they moved their starting lineup back to Jarris Walker and Isaiah Jackson. They had been starting Tony Bradley and Jeremiah Robinson Earl. This is all about trying to like keep the right people together. So you're going to see those, like when these things happen, they probably happen in tandem. JRE, I believe, is on a hardship exemption. So he's probably going to be gone soon-ish once one of these guys gets back. I think I'm right. I don't think they converted him. Yeah, he's got 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. This is probably the last day on the roster for Jeremiah Robinson Earl. So, I don't know. We'll see where that ends up. But this is another team where, like, you know what you're going to get out of Nembhard? In theory, Mathurin can play more. I don't expect that to happen just yet. Siakam's just playing big minutes and doing everything. They're rotating through these 3 centers with Isaiah Jackson, Tony Bradley, and now, to a lesser extent, Jay Huff. That's not going the direction I wanted it to. McConnell, I don't expect them to stretch out all that much. This is another team that's just sort of like set in their ways and just hanging on by a thread for everything else. So salary-wise, LaMelo is 9,400. Pascal Siakam is 9,300. I don't particularly like either of them, but if I'm playing one of them, it's absolutely Pascal Siakam. There's no way around it. Colin Sexton looks like he's probably an okay value. Moussa Diabate looks like a solid value off the bench. 7-gamer, so like these guys aren't going to be guys we go crazy for. I mean, Nembhard is probably the guy I like the most here, 6,600. Just a better player. when all these guys are gone. But with Mathurin back, it's not as ideal. Like, you know, Colin Knippel's fine. I think if I'm looking at this game, it's Andrew Nembhard and like very little else. But it's possible the value ends up looking okay. Let's talk about Golden State and Miami. And I don't really know if we could do this. So let me pull this again just to make sure I didn't get like some sort of weird line when I started the day. So if the Warriors are 6.5 point dogs here today, that tells us a lot. One, we already know we're not getting Al Horford for Golden State. Kind of makes me feel like somebody else is sitting, but I don't know. That like these teams are further apart than that, right? I know you just love saying players' names for reasons. I'll never understand it, but definitely not where. Yeah, why is so are like is Jimmy sitting? And Steph? Look, somebody's sitting for the Warriors. Let's just say that. And maybe two somebodies, because this line should be the opposite. Yeah. So I have them in. I'm not going to talk about the Warriors right now because I don't think it's going to get us anywhere. But it seems pretty clear one or both of Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry aren't playing today on this back-to-back. They lost to the Magic last night, but they're 6.5 point dogs today. So we're going to have value here, but we don't know what it is yet. And then the other piece of this game, Bam Adebayo is questionable. So Bam has missed the previous 6, plus he got hurt in 7 games ago. So if Bam Adebayo is back, that is also affecting what we have here today. So if Bam is back, everybody for Miami is basically unplayable because they're all more expensive since he's been in. So if Bam plays, the chances of you wanting to play anything from Miami are very, very, very low. But we're going to have to find out what's going on in Golden State because we're going to get value on like Trace Jackson Davis and Will Richard and, you know, Gary Payton, Quentin Post, Guy Santos, like somebody healed. I don't know what it's going to be because we don't know the news yet, but I can't talk about Golden State right now. There's just nothing to say. They're on a back-to-back. We'll get their injury report at 1:30, and at that point in time, we'll know what we need. Toronto, Philly, we can talk about. So hit the like button if you haven't done it yet. Raptors, 1.5 point favorites in Philly. Ochai Agbaji is probable. He's missed the last 4. Colin Murray-Boyles is questionable with right knee soreness. Otherwise, anybody that matters is available. I don't know how this could possibly be a drum and smash spot, but I'd love to hear it. Look, quickly Barrett, Ingram, Barnes, Pirtle. Where we should be very aware of what these guys are. How have they been with people on? So we want quickly Ingram, Barrett, Barnes. When Ingram, Barrett, Quickly, and Barnes have shared the floor, they are minus 3.8. in 205 minutes. I don't know about that one. Barnes, Quickly, Ingram, Barrett. Let's help him out a little bit. 3-point luck adjustment. Okay. Barnes, Quickly, Barrett on, Ingram off is the only group of these idiots that have been positive. Everything else is just awful when they're out there. That's fun to see, just as expected, you know? Those are some bad defenses with these guys. Anyway, that also, everything that I'm saying right now is why I find them incredibly difficult to play in DFS, because when they're all there, how do you choose? Unless there's just like a price error, what do? We go over and we talk about the Philadelphia 76ers, who are going to be without Paul George, Kelly Oubre, Adem Bona, and likely Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid technically doubtful right now, but I think we can safely assume he's not playing, but you never know. So expected starting lineup for Philly today: Maxey, Edgecombe, Grimes, Barlow, Drummond. Probably see a couple extra minutes for Jared McCain today. If you guys think you have a feel of what Dominic Barlow, Trendon Watford, Justin Edwards, and Jabari Walker are going to rotate through, kudos. This is the Tyrese Maxey show, ladies and gents. And I'm here for it. By the way, Philly on a back-to-back. They've got the Bucks tomorrow. And I think there's some things to like here. I don't think 10K Tyrese Maxey is that crazy of a price tag, given what we have on this slate. I don't like it, but at least he'll be out there. I have very minimal interest in Scotty Barnes. If I'm going anywhere, it's probably the $7,300 Brandon Ingram. I think BI looks the best of anybody on the Raptors. $6,200 Drummond, totally fine. $6,100 Quentin Grimes, totally fine. $6K VJ Edgecombe, totally fine. I would be willing to roll the dice on something like Trendon Watford, depending on what we look at by the time we get to the end of the day, but my guess is that we end up with more than enough value in spots like Golden State that we don't have to worry about it that much. But yeah, I don't look 10K for Maxey. He's the third most expensive guy on the slate. He might play 10 more minutes than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander does today. That would be interesting. Payups are kind of gross. Jokic 13K, SGA 10.6, Maxey 10K. Then you got a busy 9K range. Şengün, LaMelo, Mitchell, Siakam, Curry, Ant. But like, LaMelo's essentially unplayable. I don't know if Steph's playing. It's a weird slate. All that Golden State value is going to make Nikola Jokic look really interesting. So those are the 7 o'clock games. That's what we've got going on to start. So now we got to talk tails. I believe that you guys should go to Tails right now and then go to your app store, download the app, leave us a review, because you're going to want to be on Tails moving forward. That's my expectation. Whether you're looking for sports betting information and picks, that's here. You want pick'em stuff? That's here. You want DFS? That's here. Link is in the description, guys. I dropped this yesterday. I just want to put this out here for everybody. Oh yeah, I don't have to search for myself. I could just go to it. I put out my contenders yesterday on Tails, like just before the deeper dive. So those are at the time, my top 10 plays. So I'm going to be dropping these onto Tails every day moving forward. I used to put these out as a video. Now it's going to be a Tails post. So if you want to see my Tails plays every single day, you can. And the easiest way to do that is to download the app and leave a review. The link is in the description. Let's get to the 8 o'clock games. Washington, 16.5-point dogs in Minnesota, 237 total. Nothing too crazy here. No injury news or anything for Washington. They haven't played for 2 days. They last played on Sunday. They lost the battle of the dog shit. They lost by 23 to Brooklyn. They don't play again until Friday. So they've got the Raptors in the NBA Cup on Friday. For today, business as usual. Everybody plays minimal minutes because they get their ass kicked so frequently. Alex Sarr is questionable. Left big toe soreness. If Alex Sarr ends up out, we're going to get quite a bit of value. Whether that's Marvin Bagley, Tristan Vukcevic, or both. We are going to have some interest in the Washington Wizards center situation. So keep your eye on that one. We need the news on Sarr. Dictates everything. It's probably easier to just talk about it right now. Tristan Vukcevic is the flat min 3K. Marvin Bagley is 3,100. So no matter what you do today, until we get the news, and since this is an 8 o'clock game, probably won't have it, but you never know. We might not have the starters. Whatever you're doing here, just assume it's Marvin Bagley. And then if it ends up being Tristan Vukcevic, you can swap no matter what. But if you prepare for Vukcevic and it ends up being Bagley and you don't have that extra $100, you can't do anything about it. So whatever you're doing today, if your approach is, I don't think Alex Sarr is going to play, Marvin Bagley is the guy you want to focus on if you just want to get center right for Washington. Because you can always swap to Vukcevic. Keep that in mind. Those guys will look amazing. So, I mean, you start giving these 3K guys 22, 23 minutes, and all of a sudden they're 10x values right out of the gate. So, we are going to get value here in a big way if Alex Sarr ends up out. We're probably not going to do much of anything else with the Wizards. I don't think anybody's going to be super heartbroken about that. Now, on the Minnesota side, we do have some injury news to deal with. Terrence Shannon's still out. Jaden McDaniels, left wrist sprain. He's questionable for this one. Minnesota plays again Friday in Phoenix, NBA Cup. Now, if I'm Minnesota, if Jaden McDaniels is even slightly injured today, that dude is parking his ass. Absolutely no incentive to play him. So, pay attention, I guess. This is a very unique spot where you are resting. You could potentially rest a guy that's a little dinged up in a game against a scrub team. They're basically playing the JV NBA team. And then you get him ready for Friday, which, we can say what we want about the NBA Cup, but at the very least, it's equally as important to a regular season game, and if not more. So if he doesn't play, Jalen Clark probably steps into some more minutes, as does Leonard Miller. Don't think it matters all that much. Probably feel a little bit better about the rest of the normal guys. But that's a dumpster game, man. So I like Naz Reid. And that has nothing to do with whether or not Jaden McDaniels plays, but 5,300, power forward, center eligible. I think he's just a really nice value. He should crush this second unit of Washington with very little effort. So he's a guy that I've got my eye on in a big way. I like that power forward flexibility. If you need him at center, go for it. Only thing that concerns me is just if it's such a massive blowout, maybe he loses a little bit of run. But they're shorthanded enough that I think that he would just kind of get his normal minutes. Not much else here. Like, obviously, Ant should meet very little resistance. If you want to go to Anthony Edwards today, by all means do it. I would not tell anybody not to. But the interest in this game, to me, is going to be Naz Reid on the Minnesota side. If McDaniels sits, other guys. And then if Sarr sits, both centers for Washington. Okay. Making progress. Let's go to Denver. The Nuggets are 2 touchdown favorites in New Orleans, taking on the Pels. Now, Denver's dinged up. Christian Brown is out. He's going to be out for a while. Julian Strother also out for this one. Deron Holmes too, but he wasn't playing. So expected starting lineup for the Nuggets: Jamal Murray, Cam Johnson, Peyton Watson, Aaron Gordon, Nikola Jokic. That's what we got last time out. You'll see sizable minutes for Bruce Brown and Tim Hardaway off the bench, and then it's just Joe Val, Spencer Jones filling out. They should obviously smash New Orleans. New Orleans has no one with a prayer of slowing him down. If I got to look at this because I have to assume this is going to be really bad. This is going to be fun to look at. Yeah. So far this season, in 295 minutes, Derek Queen has a 5% foul rate. That's 23rd percentile. Let me just switch over to the Pelicans quick. So Pelicans, Zion questionable, Sadiq Bey questionable, no Carlo Makovich, still no Jordan Poole. I don't think they're going to start Derek Queen. Like, he's going to play, obviously. But I think they're going to, and I don't have this on the screen right now. I think this will be a conversation for later in the day. I think they're going to start either Yves Missi or Looney. Like, if you're going to do this, Derek Queen can't, he doesn't have the chops for this. It's going to go really bad for him. I think they'd be better off having him not just get put into this blender in the first 2 minutes. So I would not be surprised to see Yves Missi or Kevon Looney get the start here. But also doesn't matter. Now, what matters most here for the Pelicans, the only talking point that matters is whether or not Zion and Sadiq Bey play. Because, like, if they don't play, nothing that I'm saying matters. I mean, nothing that I'm saying matters anyway, but if we don't get Zion, who hasn't played for 8 games, and if we don't get Sadiq Bey, who missed their last game, then we're going to have some value here. It's going to look disgusting, but we would have some value. Like, right now, 4K Yves Missi is already mildly interesting to me, and I think he could be even more interesting. In terms of value elsewhere, $8,600 Jamal Murray isn't the worst price tag in the world? I don't like anything here. Like, obviously, if you want to play Jokic, Mazel Tov, man. But I don't like the price. Like, you're not playing Zion. I don't like Trey Murphy here. I don't like Aaron Gordon here. I certainly don't like Derek Queen here. I've been getting a ton of Jeremiah Fears. That's not happening here. I don't want anything. I don't like this game at all. Unless we get Zion and Bay out, this is just not a game I'm going to have my eye on in any way. I don't think Murray's going to look that small standing next to Jeremiah Fears. And 13K for Jokic is just... Look, I'd love to have it. I can't imagine he's popular today. And then we get to the final game of this one on the DraftKings side. Sacramento Kings are 18.5-point dogs in OKC. And the only reason it's not 20 is because J-Dub doesn't play today. Well, of course they won't put... They can't put Jeremiah Fears on Murray. But of all the teams to say Jamal Murray's going to look small out there, the Pelicans probably wouldn't be my choice. The hell does he look like when he plays the Rockets, if we're going to talk about the Pelicans? I mean, look, have we talked about Jokic's numbers lately? Let's just do that for posterity. I gotta get ready to say this. All right. 73.5% true shooting on 27.5% usage. He's shooting 81% at the rim, 68% from mid-range, and 39% from three. He grabs 11% offensive rebounds, which is 86th percentile. He grabs 31% of defensive rebounds. That's the 98th percentile. And he has a 49% assist rate, which is 100th percentile. And obviously, he's a center. This is a 6'7" 300-pound man. Not to mention 2.4 steals, 2.2 blocks percentage-wise, both well above average marks. Nikola Jokic had a negative 0.5 game EPM in game one. He hasn't been below 4 since. This dude is so stupid good, it's insane. I don't even know what to say about it. He's scoring 29.8 points per 75 possessions on... I mean, he's scoring 1.5 points per shot attempt. Doesn't matter what he does, it just goes in. He's the greatest offensive player I've ever seen play basketball. If we're talking about just being able to do everything, that dude connects everything in such a way. You know what? The saddest thing about the NBA is that we will never get to see Steph play with Jokic. Because, like, whatever we think Jamal Murray is and how cool it's been and whatever, can you imagine if that two-man game was Steph and Jokic? I mean, the passes that Jokic would have hit Steph with and the shots that he would have made would have just been mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. Oh, it would have been so much fun. Shout out Jokic. Legend. Speaking of legends, and by legend I mean myth, the Kings here. Missing some bodies. What about fuck Steph? What about Luka and Jokic? I don't think it would look nearly as cool. It wouldn't. I mean, yeah, like I want them to play together because they're both good, but there's no synergy in a Luka and Jokic lineup. No Domantas Sabonis for this one. Keegan Murray close, though. He's going to be back shortly. But no Saboner means the projected starting lineup for the Kings: Russell Westbrook, Keon Ellis, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and Drew Eubanks. You'll have Dennis Schroeder, Malik Monk coming off the bench. Precious Achiuwa should get the large majority of the backup run. And then for the Thunder, it's the same team we're normally getting here. No Aaron Wiggins, no Jalen Williams. These guys play no minutes. Shea just plays 29 minutes a night because they just win by 100. They're so much better than everybody else that it's crazy. 17.7 net rating. They're playing a Sacramento Kings team that's negative 12 on the year, and they're missing their best player by a mile. So we know what to do with OKC. And then, realistically, I guess we know what we need to do with the Kings, right? I like Jalen Williams with a Y at 3,900, but we're going to have better value than that. Drew Eubanks is already 4,200, so he's not as awesome as it seems. If I'm going somewhere, it's Chet, because they're going to guard him with DeMar DeRozan. I couldn't even say it. That's true. That's true. They're going to guard Chet with DeMar, I think. Or Levine. I like Chet. That's what I'm saying. But at the same time, you got to be ready for Chet to play 26 minutes because Oklahoma City's up by 67 points at the end of the third quarter. And the score is 87-20. Yeah, I did that math. Ellis must be a good practice player. Dude lapped Dennis and Monk. No, it's just that he's the only guy that plays defense. I think you're missing a word there, Crypto C. Yeah. My barber's theory is in the NBA, your number one option can't be small. Hawks and Knicks are doomed. For the most part, I agree. Yeah, that's not why Lillard and McCollum didn't work. Look, it's like anything else. It's not that it can't work, it's just that you have to build around it differently. Can Trae Young be the number one scorer on a title team? Of course. Of course. Look, just realistically, let's put Oklahoma City being incredible to the side for a second. If you put Trae Young on the Rockets right now, you mean to tell me that they couldn't win the NBA title? Of course they could. Because you can paper over that with Amin Thompson and Jabari Smith and Tari Eason and Şengün. You can get there. Yeah, I mean, Steph and the Warriors obviously is a different story. Steph is the exception. When you are a inner circle Hall of Famer, that's the tipping point. The Brunsons and the Trae Youngs are not that. But for the most part, it's true. It's just when you get into the deeper rounds of the playoffs, everything's bigger and faster and stronger. So it's hard to offset that. But if the rest of your team can play defense, you can make up for it. Just shrinks your margin of error. So there are 2 more games on this slate. Josh Howard, I don't think you're understanding that you need to create like $40 million in salary to do this. Why would Brooklyn do that trade, by the way? Igor Damon has no trade value whatsoever. He's worth less than a first rounder. Let me get through Knicks, Mavs, and Bulls, Blazers quickly. And then I'm going to dip out of here a little bit earlier than normal to try and get a little bit of work done. Well, Trevor, realistically, he doesn't have a choice in the matter. Jalen Brunson, questionable for this one for the Knicks. Still no OG Anunoby, obviously. So we're looking at a Brunson, Shamet, Bridges, Towns, Mitchell Robinson lineup. Assuming Brunson is back. If Brunson's not back, we get McBride, and it all looks like it did last time out. Knicks are 5.5-point favorites in Dallas. Brunson's missed the last 2. If he's back, he's probably playing like his normal-ish minutes. So I don't really see anything too crazy there. You're probably only paying attention to like Brunson and Towns in this one if Brunson is back. Now for Dallas, weird team. No AD, obviously. Derek Lively probable, Daniel Gafford probable, Cooper Flagg is available. So we're getting like a relatively full strength Dallas team today. I think that's interesting to see. We're getting a little warmer here. Gafford should play pretty big minutes. You know, in the 2 games that Lively was back, Gafford played 27 and 31. But we need that news on Jalen Brunson. Final game of the night is a 10 o'clock tip-off. Bulls Blazers. Bulls are a weird one. They're on a back-to-back. Or sorry, no, they're not on a back-to-back. And they're not a weird one. Wrong side of this game. The other side's the back-to-back. Kobe White played 30 minutes in his return. Now, I certainly didn't see that coming, but if he's playing 30 minutes, I guess he could be starting. We also have to think about Trey Jones. So I think this starting lineup might be Kobe White, Josh Giddey, Isaac Okoro, Matas Buzelis, and Vooch by the time we get there. But keep your eye on it. That said, if Kobe White is playing and Trey Jones is back, the backcourt for Chicago is getting very busy. Portland played last night. They lost by 17. We don't have their injury report. Drew Holiday didn't play. Jeremy Grant out of nowhere didn't play. We have no idea who's available for the Portland Trail Blazers right now. And in this case, all we can do is wait. So if Grant is out again, interesting. We got 32 minutes out of Caleb Love last night. If Drew Holiday is out again, we'll probably be taking a little bit of a look at Shaedon Sharpe. James, I don't know what you're saying there. But yeah, that's where we stand for right now. It's a tricky slate. The DraftKings side in particular with this just dual 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock lock is not all that fun. But we have plenty of time to break it down through the day. Deeper dive later tonight. Live before lock later tonight. I've got the strategy show VOD coming out. I've got the starting 5 coming out. Plenty of stuff. And then keep your eyes peeled on Tails later today. You guys can find my contenders on DraftKings. It's a quick one. for today, guys. I got a lot going on. I got to go catch a ferry a little bit later. Got to get this house packed up because we're going to be gone for 10 days. You're going to watch this show for the next week and a half. I will not be where I'm sitting right now. New experiences. So I got to go hunt down the best environment and backdrop for you guys until next Saturday. Well, good luck, everybody. Enjoy the night. If you got any questions, hit me up at Josh Engleman on the X.